I want to show you the tools that I absolutely cannot live without. When you purchase your tools, you can't buy everything all at once. You have to pick what's most important and what you're gonna need immediately. And sometimes it's hard to choose because you don't know what would be essential. My hope is that sharing my favorite tools that I use constantly with you will show you which might be worth your investment and, getting sooner rather than later. So the first item is your saw frame, and there are plenty of very cheap options out there and they are great. They are usually like a silver type with a black handle, adjustable. If someone really wants to elevate their sewing skills and really enjoys sewing as much as I do, I often recommend getting something a bit better, investing a little bit more. So this is the one I really enjoy using. It's extremely lightweight, has a wooden handle. It's by New Concepts, and the one I have has this system, like a quick release. So you have this little thingy here and it's so much faster to tighten your blade like this. You don't have to squeeze your saw frame between yourself and the bench. My hand is too small to be able to squeeze the saw frame like that. So for me, this quick release thing was a game changer. We all know that we need to protect our lungs and our eyes while we're working, but are you protecting your fingers? These finger protectors, they are Japanese and they are great to protect yourself from the heat, from scratches and injury to your finger, from messing up your nails, cutting yourself. Obviously, I mean like superficial cuts. And I really enjoy using them. They're not very expensive, and for what they are, the value is amazing. Whatever you use, just remember to protect those fingers as well. This is a new addition to the family, but I already am obsessed. This is a bezel pusher. Chris from Lion Punch Forge is making these tools, and wow, I love it. It has a rounded end like this. It's a bit wider and very easy to push the bezel. This handle here is metal, it's quite heavy, very durable, and the size is perfect for my hand. I love it. I think this is a great tool, and Chris, you are amazing for making these. I know I've been raving about these for so long, I'm sorry, but truly, your saw blades are important. You will lose your mind if you keep purchasing very cheap options. They will be breaking. You will question yourself and your skills, and oftentimes it's not your skills or lack thereof. It is very poorly made saw blades that just break, that aren't sharp enough. I recommend you purchase something quality. Super Pike is great, Swiss saw blades, any quality saw blades will save your sanity. Miter jig is another tool you might consider not needed because it is a bit pricey. And I did purchase a very inexpensive version in the past and I regretted it immediately and returned it. It wasn't aligned properly. The parts weren't moving properly because this is how it looks like. It looks like a little robot. This one's called Henry. And you can move these parts. Over here you use these screws to make a little bit more space. And there are slots in here that are at different angles. This is precision tool. This is used if you want to cut something very straight or at an angle and just not worry about it not being precise. It helps so much with ring bands to file down or cut your ring band so that then it sits properly on a back plate. I would recommend that. It'll help you a lot. These ring bending pliers. It's such a simple tool. I think this is like Tools and Tools UK, so inexpensive seller, but I just found them so useful. It's so quick to make a ring. Great alternative to your simple ring bending pliers or like half round pliers. If you have those, making rings with these is a chore that I do not enjoy, but these proved to be very useful. Upgraded version would be a ring bender. Another investment. If you are making tons of rings, you might wanna buy something like that. And I would recommend it. It's great. However, a cheaper option, a ring bending pliers like this. One of my biggest dreams was a ball vise like this. And this one is by Pepe Tools. Great alternative to much more expensive GRS, which costs many cows. But this one is of excellent quality. As you can see, it's not that heavy, but it's heavy enough, trust me. Okay, I'm gonna put it down. There we go. And it's so much easier to work on stuff when you can just lock it in there. It moves around in your hands. Rings, but not only rings, for engraving and for working on metal in many ways. This is just amazing. With soldering, I love charcoal bricks. They reflect the heat, and because I am soldering mostly using hand torches, butane, this is important for me to retain as much heat as possible for efficient soldering. So charcoal bricks is what I'm using. I also have a regular soldering board, but I just use it as a board that's underneath my charcoal brick. This is what I use for soldering always. And when I'm soldering on my charcoal brick, I use a little wire mesh that elevates silver so I can heat up underneath it. It's great. And it, helps you avoid overheating your metal. You create it using stainless steel wire. This one's dead soft. It's incredible. I do recommend that. I also use it to bind my charcoal brick so that it lasts longer and doesn't fall apart. And speaking of soldering, there is this clay moldable third arm called Hold It. Amazing. It's just that. It's a moldable clay that you can use in soldering. You can mold it however you like and support your pieces. If you have some awkward constructions going on and you don't know how to hold it in place, but even just rings, this is great stuff. Yeah, I wish I had that since the beginning. This is something I use every day in every single project. Buffing sticks and sanding paper or wet and dry paper. I have them mostly in 240 because that's the coarse one and the one I use most often. But I also have some coarser ones and finer ones, and they are great for cleaning the edges, smoothing out the surfaces, removing fire stain. Get yourself some of these. Cutters. These are flush cutters by Lindstrom, and I love that they have this return spring over here, so it's very easy to use them. My shear cutters were very cheap, the cheapest option that was out there. I've been using it for several years. I purchased it, I think, in Cooks on Gold, and it had this little spring over here that was falling out every time I opened them, and it was squeaky, not very good, and they weren't as sharp as they should be. I was usually very frustrated using them. But this is amazing for cutting wire, for cutting bezels. You would think that cutters might not be your essential tool, but if you think about it, you use it all the time. Cutters would be a good idea. I don't know if this will be for you, but it's definitely for me because I am shaping a lot of little elements that I want them to be 3D. I usually shape little flowers. Round pliers, durable, very comfortable to use with a comfortable handles. That was on the top of my list. And last but not least is my pendant motor with flexible attachment, and also this is a quick release handle. I also have some attachments for it right here. This is something I always say is number one when it comes to investing a little bit more in tools, because this is saving so much time, work and effort and energy. You should absolutely get yourself a pendant motor. Doesn't matter the brand. Mine's Forom and I love it, and I love the quick release handle, but there's Dremel and flexible shaft. That's just amazing. I started with Dremel 3000, I believe, and for the first few months I was just holding the whole motor in my hand. That was very uncomfortable. So the moment I got myself a flex shaft for that Dremel and I hanged it on a little hanger, was absolute game changer. And now with Forom, which for that I also have a foot control, so I don't have to turn it on and off on the motor itself. If I can convince you to get something like this, that's your cue. You're not gonna regret it. And with attachments, so the ones I use most often are those bristle wheels, like these, and Eve silicone attachments, especially white and black one. They are quite coarse. I also really love snap-on sanding discs like these. I also have some bathing little mops here. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you would like to get for yourself, or if there's anything I should get. Maybe there's something you love using. I always love to find out about new things that might be helpful and useful. So let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!